could you give us some insight as to what might occur on one of your 6-hour tours? Volunteer shifts?
Okay, well definitely we have approximately, my duty is on Tuesday evening. The USO is open there, as I go down every Tuesday evening there. The Coast Guard, as you know, Cape May is the only boot camp in the whole United States for the Coast Guard. So they meet there, they come from all the United States with orders to report to the USO. They come in, we average maybe between 50 to 90 each week come in. My job is to make sure they get organized there. I hold their formation in the hallway. I call the muster, make sure they're available, give them the scoop what we're doing. Quite often the airport's quite crowded, so I make sure we line them up in military manner, no straggling, no talking, get him up to the airport. It's approximately almost a quarter-mile walk through there. Get him on board the bus, give them the final scoop, wish them well, and away they go. I also have what is known as a blue badge. All the other employees or volunteers at the USO have red badges. I have a blue badge, which means I can escort the troops through security. You must have a boarding pass before you get through security these days. A lot of the troops do not have them, so I can go up with my escort badge, along with the personnel, the security there. I can escort them through, get them down to USO so they can enjoy themselves. We also have a very large area where they can store their sea bags, which we lock them up, and other duties performed there, making sure there's plenty of the food available for the troops.
Ed, did I jump ahead a bit there?
Yes, you did a wee bit there about the explanation.
Yeah, we didn't finish the tour, so if you would go to the next image, please.
Okay. Here we have the computer area. We have a good dozen computers there, which this day and age, everyone has a computer just about. I don't have one, but the troops have one. But they can check out the games or anything that's available for the computer area there. So it's used greatly, mostly by the younger troops, but just about every man that comes through there has his own laptop computer. So in this day and age, they can contact with their personnel throughout the world whenever they wish.
And then
and here we have the bunk area. We have 8 bunks for the males, 8 bunks for the females. They're made up, kept nice and clean by the volunteers there. Every day when the troops come out, they strip their racks of their sheets there. Everything's washed and clean. We also have a nice shower area where the troops come in where they want to shower and relax. We also supply them with any kind of toilet articles they might need, toothpaste, shaving creams, shampoos, whatever. But everything's squared away by the volunteers and kept very nice and squared away and clean. Here we have our so-called movie area. We have a good 8-foot screen there, which we show movies, which we have. Anybody can check out the movies they wish to see, or the TV. As you see, they have their very nice lounge, relaxing chairs there. Nice lounging chairs where quite often if it gets too crowded, the bunk area gets too crowded. The troops can stay in there. Reclining chairs, we supply them with plenty of blankets, pillows, so they can relax there, enjoy the show and take their naps or just relax and enjoy themselves.
It's also interesting, I believe, the window looking out on the tarmac was in that room. And
well, Terminal A East, where we are, is right on the tarmac on the landing area there. So you do look out and see the numerous aircraft come in, and they're right there. As they come by, I'm always interested to see a giant aircraft come in on its own. A pilot's direction, he's driving it right through all the traffic there and parking it into a nice small spot there. But very interesting spot there, and it's interesting to see what's going on at the airport.
Well, thanks for the tour, Ed. And do you have some data on the number of troops that use the USO at the airport?
Well, there's probably a good thousands and thousands come in through each year. I know alone there's a good 3,000 Coast Guard come through each year. Plus all the military personnel going to McGuire and Fort Dix, troop movements there, troops coming in on leave and liberty with their dependents, and all the active retirees that come through there with their dependents. So I said we're quite active there. Anybody that comes through going anywhere has an active ID card, can come through the USO there, spend some time, but there's quite a few there and it takes a lot of maintenance, but the troops really enjoy it. and was told numerous times by the troops that have traveled around the world numerous times that they really appreciate the USO, and the one here at the Philadelphia airport is one of the finest because we are open 24/7. And there's always plenty of good chow here when they're always surprised of all the goodies that they can get here. So it's greatly appreciated, but as I was telling Bruce there, it's active and thousands come through there every year.
I'm sure you must have some very interesting experiences with the troops as you communicate with them as they come and go. Could you share a few of those with us, please?
Yes, I know. We have a young lady. I hold the roster, and the troops come in, they sign the roster there, they put down their name, their state, and what time they get into the USO here. As I call their name, quite often they're supposed to print their names, but quite often they scribble it. So often I might have to go by their first name. I might say, hey, Joe, Arkansas, and he'll answer up and give his last name. I make it out so I know it's him. I check him off. There's one time there was a young lady named Melissa. So I called Melissa. She could not, I could not make out her last name, so I asked her where she was from. And she very weakly said, the territory of Yap. As anyone knows, I know as the generation here, the Second World War vets, Yap is a tiny little island in the Southwest Pacific. It was occupied by the Japanese during the Second War, so as the war was over, Uncle Sam said, hey, I'm going to keep this island for our own, which he did, along with Guam and a lot of island areas there, Saipan, etc. So how she got to Guam to join the Coast Guard and how she traveled halfway around the world, interesting, and I was very appreciative she was there, but many other stories also. As all you Navy personnel know, that the head is where you go to relieve yourself. The Army says the latrine, the Air Force says the restrooms. The Coast Guard kids come through and they quite often say, I want to use the restroom. And they know, where do you want to go? And I say, restrooms, I know, what's above your shoulders? I tap them on the skull there. They realize that it's the head. So that's the only terminology used from now on. So it's very interesting. Even the Army personnel come through, and I had a command sergeant major, retiree, came through here, and one time he asked about, he wanted to go to the restroom. So I said, no, sir, you want to go to the head? It's right around the corner. He gave me a rather stern look. He said, were you in the Marine Corps? And I said, yes, sir, I was. He said, I figured, because all the Navy and the Marine Corps say it's the head. He laughed and went to the head. Also, another interesting story, I was on duty one Saturday. I was in the lounge area cleaning up, and there's a gentleman there, nice suit coat on, briefcases, and I had a Marine Corps shirt on one time with the emblem on it. So he mentioned, he said, oh, I was in the Marine Corps, we exchanged greetings, Semper Fi's, and I was talking to him, I mentioned to him, I said, when were you in the Marine Corps? He said, back in the 80s. And I said, where are you from? He said, Michigan. Well, as you might know, every Marine that east of the Mississippi goes to Parris Island. Every Marine west of the Mississippi goes to San Diego. He said he went to San Diego boot camp. So it's a joke in the Marine Corps, anybody that goes to San Diego we call Hollywood Marine. They don't appreciate it, but it's known throughout the Corps, and he laughed about it. I also said, then what did you do? He said he spent his career in the Marine Corps, got out of the Corps as a Lance Corporal. Then he joined the Army. So jokingly, I said, oh, well, that's two mistakes you made. First going to San Diego, then joining the Army. So we laughed about that now, and I said, what do you do in the Army? He gave me his calling card. He is a Major General in the United States Army. So quite to say, I was rather stunned and rather a little bit embarrassed about it, but he laughed about it. His duties was, as the Army General, to check on all the MP bases throughout the world. But we had a joke about that, being in the Marine Corps, and we exchanged greetings, Semper Fi's, and he went on his way. So there's many interesting things there, and it's interesting all the troops that come through there, where they're from and their stories, so it's greatly enjoyable.